Hi! Wow, this camera is way crappier quality. Yeesh. Um, hi, Julie. Thank you for showing up. Hi, Mr. Luke. All right. Sorry, guys. Uh, my camera is plugged into my computer, which should have been powering my camera, but apparently it wasn't, and my camera died. Um, Sorry about that. That was unexpected, and I didn't like it. Boo on you, camera. Um, but anyway, here we are. Hi, everybody. Uh, we got 5 people in here now. People should start hopping in again. Hey, Cryptodium, welcome back. Sorry, guys. That was strange and unfortunate. Let's see. Am I talking through this microphone still? Can you hear this? Tap, tap, tap. Or is it through the computer? Meh, 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 meh. I don't know. Okay. Welcome back, my brother, and Blanthos and Bitmap, and Mr. Luke, and okay, it's the laptop. Well, that's going to be, again, crappier quality, but it should be okay. We'll be doing this live stream for like half hour more about. I have a theatrical performance this evening that I will need to get ready for. The Shakespeare company that I'm involved with it feels like an oversight that we haven't been doing this for years. But as I said at the beginning of the last, oh, you heard tapping on the mic? Is that okay? Cool. Then we probably have better sound quality because the microphone in the computer is not great. So good, better quality sound. Anyway, yeah, my Shakespeare company. We have a we do original practice Shakespeare, which means we do Shakespeare the way Shakespeare did Shakespeare, replicating as much as we can the performance and rehearsal techniques that were used in Shakespeare's original company like 500 years ago. And tonight, for the Ides of March, we are doing an unrehearsed Julius Caesar. And so Shakespeare's company didn't rehearse their shows. In fact, we have records of people coming to see the opening shows of certain performances, or opening performances of certain shows, rather, and audiences would pay double to go see opening night because it was insane. Because Shakespeare's actors didn't rehearse. After a show was well received, and therefore they knew they would have audiences come and see it again. They would have a very, very short bit of rehearsals to get it back on its feet. But for most of the shows that were put on in the Globe in Shakespeare's day, they would have been unrehearsed. So we're doing an unrehearsed Julius Caesar tonight, and it's going to be insane. So if any of you guys are local to Utah Valley, come and check out the show. It's going to be nuts. Yeah, it's going to be really crazy. I am playing Mr. Caesar himself. So if you want an opportunity to come and we're doing this as a fundraiser. So if you want to come and pay more money and stab me with a fake knife, you can come and do that. Anyone who's local, come and watch me perform tonight. So we'll be doing this live for about a half hour more, and then I got to go get ready for my show. Yeah, the new secret project. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. If Brutus invites you to get together, don't go. Et tu, Brute. Indeed. Um, will we see more of Chris? Absolutely, we'll see more of Chris. Chris is. I think Chris is going to be around for the entirety of the Cosmere. The way that Brandon has structured her character and what she does to the text itself, I think Chris is in for the long haul. Specifically, like we know that Chris writes basically all of the Ars Arcanum. Uh, I was looking through my copies of Mistborn earlier and like, oh, these were not written by Chris, but all of the Stormlight Ars Arcanum, all of the Ars Arcanum that we've gotten in later books have been written by Chris, and I think, yeah, she's gonna be around. I think once we get our like Silverlight novels digging into what's happening in that city state that exists solely in the cognitive realm. Uh, and we know that Chris was vital to the founding of at least one of the universities in Silverlight. I think we're going to get a lot more of Chris. Hi, Braxton. How does she not age? Great question, Julie. Because we know that Chris is not necessarily invested strictly. Maybe. I don't know. Chris might be invested. Once we find out what's going on the dark side of Taldane, I think Chris. I wouldn't be surprised if Chris was invested with dark side magic, because there were some weird things going on in the dark side of Taldane. I can't remember the guy's name, but like basically the immortal god king of Darkside. Yeah, weird things happening there. And if Chris managed to tap into that, because that guy wasn't aging. But otherwise, we do know that time dilation is a thing in the Cosmere. So it's entirely possible that there is just light speed weirdnesses going on. There are ways to live longer than a single lifespan, even if you're not invested in extending your life that way. Brandon hasn't gone into what those ways are, but it is possible. No, Chris has not written the Speak the Words entries. Those were written by, those were written by Dan Wells, but written by InWorld by a character that Dan created called Senna Khald. And I think we will see more of Senna. I think Dan is probably going to eventually write a novella of some kind in Stormlight, and that will explore the third age or the sixth age. But no, Senna and Chris are very different people. Yeah, we don't know much about Taldane. All we get is in White Sand, and that's only half of the planet. So there's an entire other magic system on Taldane that we know absolutely nothing about. Skaven, that's right. Yeah, Skaven. Yes. Don't order fries from KFC for at least 2 weeks. I will be very aggressively scrubbing my hands after I'm done here, because even if it wasn't like the steel is coated in industrial lubricant still, but also, yeah, just having bits of metal, it's not great to consume. So I will definitely be washing my hands after this. What's my thought on the new White Sand novelization? I'm honestly surprised we didn't get that as part of this last. Wait, no, he said it was going to be coming out around December, right? That should be coming out like with Dragonsteel ish. As far as I know, it's just basically a re-edit of the existing prose version. Just bringing the original prose version more into Cosmere canon, which the graphic novel was a step toward, like the graphic novel is canon at the moment, but once we get the official novelization, that will become the new canon. For example, like the graphic novel changed ice to a woman and had radios, but then that got taken out in the omnibus. But in the graphic novel, in the original version of the graphic novel, there was slatrification, and Brandon has since expressed remorse that he made slatrification a real thing and not just a legend. And I think in the in the omnibus they retconned slatrification being a thing. I haven't dug into the omnibus very much, but I've heard that they took out slatrification, and so in the novelization, like there will be changes to the current prose story, but I don't think it's going to be significant. Yeah, I think the new Taylor. I think the new prose version of White Sand will be more connected, simply because we know more. So I think Brandon will feel more comfortable slipping in things, but like I'm sure. I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised if Trell was more present in the new prose version of White Sand. But I doubt there would be very significant changes made to the story as a whole. Do we know how fast time travel? I'm sorry, Mr. Luke. I don't understand your question. Burn Bendaloy and Duralumin like Wayne did. Oh, how fast time would travel? Like how fast the time happens in the speed bubble? Yeah, that's a great question. We know it has to be faster than the speed of light. That much Bendaloy with Duralumin, with the way that Wayne's senses behaved in that speed bubble, his time was going faster than the speed of light. Which I think is that's basically how faster than light travel is going to work in Mistborn Era 4. Once we get to the space age, it's going to be speed bubbles within speed bubbles, or speed bubbles powered by Duralumin, that just mechanicalized allomancy with layers to it. Oh, Julie, slatrification. Slatrification is the ability for a sandmaster to turn white sand into water. And with reading Tress, we know more about that type of bond of what happens with the sandmaster and white sand and why water is used up. And in the original prose version, sandmasters are able to turn white sand into water, to drink water, to then be able to sandmaster more. But Brandon has said that sort of breaks the magic system for him, and so he has since removed slatrification from the magic of white sand. Oh yeah, thank you other people for answering that. That's great. It's annoying how less canon the graphic novels feel and how much of it. That's true. Yeah. That is why I don't recommend chronological reading order, because if you went chronological, you'd have to start with White Sand, and White Sand, it's like it's important, it's significant, big things happen, you get introduced to important people, but it's hardly canon. I'm excited for getting an official prose version of White Sand. It'll be really good. C.H. Brom, making slatrification a myth full stop, or making it a myth like ATM shadows, splitting ATM shadows. That I'm sure that if a Sandmaster got invested enough, they could do weird things. like potentially turn sand into water. Maybe. I'm. Oh, how about this? Slatrification is probably impossible in Sand Mastery, but would likely be possible in other magic systems. Microkinesis, which we know about from Yolen. We've never seen anyone use microkinesis, but it's basically tension, the bondsmith surge, but more. You're influencing individual atoms rather than substances. I think a microkinesis user could probably turn whatever they want into water. And soul casting. It would be hard to soul cast white sand into water because the sand itself would be invested and would resist that. But you can soul cast other things into water. So it would make sense if slatrification was a legend from off-world influence, but wouldn't actually be possible in the magic system of Sand Mastery itself. Does that make sense? Yeah, if a Sandmaster had a Soulcaster, and yes, Axii, that is the in Cosmere term for atoms. They don't refer to them as atoms because the term atom is actually kind of tangentially related to biblical Adam, and they don't have a biblical atom. So yeah, they refer to the individual pieces of stuff that make up all the things as Axii instead of atoms. Indeed. Right now, I am doing some bronze. This is the bronze. There's red on it, on the bottle, because I painted a sock red for a show that I did once. I can't remember why. It was probably... Oh! I painted a sock... Okay, so I'm heavily involved in the Shakespeare company, right? And 7 or 8 years ago, we did a production of the complete works of William Shakespeare abridged. And if any of you have seen that show, it's absolutely hilarious. So we were doing that. As part of that show, they do a cooking show of Titus Andronicus. And if any of you know Titus Andronicus, it's horrific. And someone gets their hands chopped off in Titus Andronicus. And so in order to make just like cheap, crappy, look, I don't have any hands, I took some tube socks and spread them over some mason jars and painted them red. And that is why there is red on this mason jar, because I'm a Shakespeare nerd as well as a Sanderson nerd. Yeah, it lets Brandon do weird fantasy science fiction, or weird fantasy science it lets Brandon do fantasy as science fiction, basically. Which is honestly one of the things I love about the Cosmere, is how much like science fiction it is, while being... Oh, dang it! I just put like 3 things into this one bottle. Dump it out. Very precise process. In case anyone's curious, this is a half teaspoon measuring spoon. So each vial is getting about a half teaspoon of whatever appropriate metal it is. Brass, you see? Yeah. Any other questions about Cosmere? Who here has backed the Words of Radiance campaign? I was real lucky. I was at work when it dropped. I recorded... I probably will post for my patrons. I'll post on my Patreon page my live watching of Brandon's announcement of that. I don't think it would be interesting enough to put on my just channel, but if Patreons want to watch my live reaction to the 631 video from Brandon. I will post that on my Patreon if you would like to take a look at that. But I was at work when that dropped, and then spent the first hour of the class I was interpreting. Whenever I was not actively interpreting, I was on my phone trying to refresh the page in order to get a signed and numbered copy, because I've got a signed and numbered copy of Way of Kings, and I feel like it needs a friend. It can't just be alone on the shelf with no other signed and numbered copies, especially of a sibling. We can't do that to Way of Kings. So I backed at the highest tier. I haven't added anything else to my order yet. I probably will end up getting a plushie. Getting all 10 plushies I'm tempted by, but that's $400, and that's a lot of dollars, and I don't make that much dollars doing this, and so I don't think I could justify spending $1,000 on the crowdfunding campaign for the channel. But I can definitely do 650 apparently. Yeah, it's people just getting secret projects, totally valid. I mean, fundamentally, the Words of Radiance is a repackaging of a book that we all already have. But it's so pretty. I love it. Yeah, Taylor, what are you getting? Did you back all the things? Oh, Lee, you got the Stormfather plushie? Yeah, what a grumpy Gus. I love the Stormfather. Just looks like such a grouch, especially in the picture of they have the picture of the pin. He just looks so grumpy doing his little leg up growly thing. It's so good. Yeah, the Stormfather plushie. I would love to get the Wendell plushie, and of course Syl. I'm a Will Shaper, so I would want to get a Reacher plushie, and they all just look really cool. If I had money, I would do all of the plushies, but that's a little rich for my blood. Leatherbound Secret Project audiobook and Syl. Nice. Yeah, the plushie of Syl is so adorable. I love it. Yeah, Dragonsteel was dangerous last year because it was filled with plushies. They had plushies of all of the different Tanix from the Skyward series, and I got all of the Tanix. But getting all of the Tanix was $200 ish, 150. And that is not as much as getting all 10 plushies. It was a lot. Yeah, $40 for a single plushie was a lot. I'm working up to that. I may get a plushie by the end of the campaign, but at the moment I just backed the highest tier, got a numbered version. Sadlal, thank you. Yes, thank you for the question. There are updates on Rhythm of War Cosmere Connections. I can update you on that. I have finished my research for Rhythm of War. I finished my read through, my very in-depth taking notes in every chapter read through. Those notes, if you would like to see them, are available to my top tier patrons on Patreon. You can see those notes. I have gone through and I have broken up those notes into individual what will be videos. So I've basically gotten the script for each video that I'm going to dive into. There will be 5. I'm going to be doing a video for each part of Rhythm of War, digging into each part individually. And those, I should be recording them in the very near future. Next week, I am hoping to get the Wellerman, the Everstorm song in its entirety recorded and out. That should be my video next week. I will be working on that next Monday. I will be sending out a call to my patrons specifically. If you want to be a part of that, if you want your voice to be part of the Everstorm chorus, I will be reaching out to my patrons and Taylor, of course, supporters on YouTube. I will be reaching out to you guys if you want to add your voice to the chorus of the Everstorm song, and then I will be editing that next week. Hopefully getting that out Friday or Saturday of next week. But after that, the plan is to get all of the Rhythm of War Cosmere connections recorded, and then I will be releasing those next month. Let me check. Let me check my desk calendar. Yeah, starting on the 19th is when I'm planning on starting to release the Rhythm of War Cosmere connections. So those are coming very soon, and I'm sorry it's taken so long. The book took me longer than I expected to read, and taking all of those notes was a lot of very focused effort. Taylor, do I have any advice for people who want to start making Cosmere content? Absolutely. My advice is do it. Uh, I when I first started making content on YouTube, I was very worried about video quality and audio quality and um, making sure everything was as perfect as I wanted it to be. Looking back, those things are not nearly as important as I thought they were. For example, like, with what we've done today, initially we had fancy, nice camera, nice audio, nice visual video quality. Audio quality is more important than video quality, frankly. But we started off with nice video quality, and then it crapped out, and now we're here on just a laptop camera. And this isn't terrible. This is fine. So if you want to start making content, start writing down ideas. Start start thinking of what type of content you want to create. If you want to start doing like Cosmere memes, if you want to just deep dive into specific systems or pieces of lore, if you want to do long form videos of exploring various worlds like I do, if you whatever you want to do, start thinking about the type of content you want to create and start writing down ideas, start brainstorming possible videos that you could do, and then do it. You don't need to have a fancy camera. You don't need to have top of the line microphones. You don't need to have fancy lighting. You don't need to have your own office to record in. When I first started making content, I was recording in a spare bedroom in our house. And then we had kids. And so I couldn't have a spare bedroom because that got turned into the kids' room. So I was then recording in the corner of my bedroom. And that was fine. I'm really proud of the videos that I made as a beginning content creator. But if you want to start creating Cosmere content, brainstorm and then do it. There was I did invest in a like YouTube training program type of thing, which I probably didn't need to do. But there was one thing that they said in that program is you don't have to be good to start. You have to start to be good. So ultimately, if you want to create content, start creating content. And as you create content, as you find your niche and you find your specific voice of what you want to do, how you want to connect with your audience, that will develop you into a better content creator. You don't need to be good to start. You need to start, and then you will get good at it. A similar concept was echoed when I interviewed Carly Kellstrom of Dragon Woodshop, who designed the Eye of Stormlight coin display. I did an interview with her. It's available on my channel. It's a solid interview. And she said, like, her one of her guiding principles when it comes to not just creating content, but also to being creative in life is ready, fire, aim. Because really, if you wait to be fully prepared to do something, you're never going to do it. So ultimately, if you want something to happen, you need to do it. You need to make it happen. That's why I recorded the audiobook for Dragonsteel, Long Chills and Questo, because I want to work for Dragonsteel. I want to be an audiobook producer for Brandon. And in order to do that, I need to do it. And this was the best way I could do it, by getting something that I am deeply interested in, that I think fills a need, and producing it myself and making it available and saying, hey, Dragonsteel, I'm here. I want to be a part of you, but also making things happen on my own. Ready, fire, aim. If you want to do something, step 1 is do it. Step 2 is figure out how you can improve on it. And then step 3 is do it again. So yeah, that is my advice, Taylor. That was a long-winded and fairly tangential explanation of my approach on that, but that is how I feel. Yeah. Any other questions? We're wrapping up, and I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 medals filled. I have 10 more medals that I need to fill. Great, awesome, Taylor. Make your first video. Tag me in it. I want to see it. I will support you in this. Do it. Make content. It's overwhelming initially. It doesn't get less overwhelming. And thanks, Adam. Thanks for liking my stuff. Yeah, creating content, being creative it's journey before destination. You're never going to get to where you want to be, because you're always working on creating and developing yourself into that person. It's 100% journey before destination. And journeys have to start with a single step. It will always whelm. You may be overwhelmed, but you will always at least be whelmed. Indeed. Yeah, this is about all the time I have. I will continue filling these medals in the next few days. So if you guys order some medals, if you want medal vials of the modern metals, including, once again, chromium, very shiny, and nigrosyl, which is a thermocouple wire, and cadmium, which is poisonous, and bendalloy, which melts at a very low temperature. And also harmonium, and also lerasium. Those will be all available on the order form in the link of all of my videos. If you want to get a set of medals, or if you want to get individual medals, those will be available, as well as stickers and pins and t-shirts and a few other random things. So thank you all for hopping on the live stream with me. I really appreciate all of your support. I will continue to work on metal vials. I will continue to work on content. We've got some really cool things coming. Again, next week we should have the Everstorm video in its entirety. I think I wrote a lot of verses for it. It's going to be a fairly long song, but I've got most of the B-roll recorded. My family went on a camping trip down in southern Utah, and I recorded a bunch of stuff when I was down there, and now I need to just actually record the song. So that should be ready by tomorrow, the week equivalent of tomorrow, next week. And soon after that, within the next month, we should have the Words of Radiance Cosmere Connection videos starting to come out. If you want to be a part of the Everstorm chorus, I will be sending out a thing on my Patreon. So if you would like to join in that, please support me on Patreon, and you will also be able to see, or you'll be able to listen to the first chapter of my audiobook recording of Long Chills and Questo. That is available to supporters on Patreon. And again, if you like my stuff, please consider supporting me on Patreon or buying merchandise, because I want to be able to do more of this, and I really enjoy connecting with you guys and talking about something that we're all really passionate about, like the Cosmere and like these stories that are legitimately life changing. So thank you all for being here. I will have more content out for you soon, and yeah, journey before destination, everybody. We'll see ya. End stream. Bye. Have good weekends.